Hello. So I am. It's cold. It's like gonna be 14 degrees today, and today is like the first day of winter. Sorry, summer. First day of summer, and it will be 14 degrees Celsius at night. I'm wearing a jacket because it's cold. Um, Today I did a lot of EMDR. I think I did about over an hour in total today. So EMDR, the one that I'm using anyway, is a bilateral stimulations mostly. It just means that you're activating both sides, both hemisphere of your brain, so that you are processing trauma and stuff. Um, I'm trying to provoke myself to bring up traumas that I still have left over. And I thought like I don't have a lot, and I realized like when I start talking, I am bringing up the traumas inside. When I don't talk, like it's nice because I don't have to think about it. No, actually, I am thinking about a lot of things, but like mostly it's just like memories being repeated over and over again. Right now, it's actually very nice, except for the cold. Um, and today, the trauma that got picked up was I have to sort everything out myself ever since I was a kid. So that was like the main theme, which was I have to sort out everything myself. I have to come up with the answer myself because no one's coming, no one is helping, like no one's gonna figure it out for me. And I don't know the answer. And right now, like the thing that came up in today's session was I'm doing this all by myself, by the way, just in my living room or like in my bed. And the answer that not the answer but like this the thing that came up was I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer to this. And then after that, that's another plane flying over. And after that was the resentment of having to come up with the answer myself. I was so resentful. Like that was the next emotion that came after I don't know the answer because no one is coming and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm stuffed, right? And suddenly all my memories are like just snippets, flashing backs of snippets of childhood or where I couldn't figure out everything on my own, even though I was expected to. One of the very earliest childhood memory was what related to money. I think I was 3 years old and I was in kindergarten and I didn't have money to buy food, to buy lunch. And then I was like, oh, I don't have money. Like, how am I going to buy lunch? How am I going to buy food? And I didn't have money. I know this was kindergarten because I was um, in the kindergarten building because I know like the elementary school is across the building where I was. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I really didn't. And I remember, I think afterwards, I don't know what happens in between, but afterwards, I remember my mom was saying, why don't you just borrow money from one of the teachers? I was 3 years old. You're supposed to give me some kind of, I don't know. You're the one that's supposed to be doing the thinking for me. Um, the fact that she blamed it on me was a bit, now I'm thinking as an adult, was really annoying. But I guess like that was the second emotion that came out after the initial hurt that was in during the session, the MDR session was like, I wasn't supposed to be figuring it out myself. You're supposed to help me. Like you failed in helping me. You failed in making sure that I was okay. Like you failed in your job in helping me and supporting me because the deal was not that I have to do everything myself, that I have to, you know, figure it out myself. Like you're supposed to help me. And of course, like it kind of um it's not only mothers, it's not only parents or adults, it's like it's also blaming God and all of that. Like, you're supposed to be here and help me out in this lifetime, and it doesn't seem like it's happening. So I feel like there is a lot of broken contracts happening, a lot of broken contracts, a lot of broken social contracts that wasn't supposed to happen or wasn't supposed to be done that way, And so that's what I was processing this afternoon was yeah, that realization that I don't know the answer. And the second realization was that I wasn't supposed to know the answer. I was supposed to be helped. I was like, these people failed me when I was younger, and now I can't trust other people in helping me because my belief is that no one's coming, no one's gonna help me. If the people that were supposed to support you and loved you didn't do that, why would other people would? You know. So it was a huge thing. I'm not sure, like, usually these processes just happens, and the crying is just one of the processing is just just getting rid of the emotions out. Um I feel like when you come to EMDR and emotional processing and trauma processing, crying is like pooping. Is your emotional pooping. Basically. So it's good. So if you're processing traumas or emotional stuff, it's and you're crying, it's good. Means you're pooping it out. It means like you are getting it out of your system, which is what the work is supposed to be. And again, like, I didn't do anything special. I basically just downloaded EMDR TriSense app, and I just used the buzzing feature, which was like just buzzing alternately between one phone to another using your hands. So you're basically just doing that, like, and then with me, I find it faster if I want to process a trauma to talk about it. Just like talk, if you don't know what kind of trauma you're processing, the way I did it is just talk about anything. Talk about the weather, talk about, I don't know what you did that day, and talk out loud. You don't even need to have another person in the room for me personally. But of course, like, if you're really scared of what EMDR will do to you, it's probably better if you do it in a therapist room. And this is definitely not mental health advice. This is definitely not medical advice by any means. This is just what I do. And after that, like, my rambling just led to that particular opening, which was with me. I don't know. I don't know the answer. And I think it also stemmed from like always being asked like what the answer was ever since I was a kid. And I think that led to the second emotional real trauma part, which was, how do these adults expect a kid to answer the question that they can't even answer themselves as an adult, and especially as people that are like, even though right now, like, as a 40-year-old, I know, like, I don't know much, but I will definitely not put solving my problem onto, like, I don't know, 6-year-old, 7-year-old. Like, I'm not gonna put my problem, my adult problem, to have the 8-year-old to solve. Like, that's stupid. Like, even if I weren't educated, I think that would still be stupid. Even if the 8-year-old is a highly educated 8-year-old with a PhD, that is like he or she is a savant, I would still not ask him to pay my rent or solve my problems in a way that is boundary crossing as a child. Even though if they're a genius, for example, they still would still need to clean their room, and they would still need to help with the chores, for example. They would still need to ask whether they can buy $50 worth of McDonald's and stuff like that, because I'm not going to let a child dictate an adult decision. Of course, you want to nurture their talent, but at the same time, you have to also recognize that they're still a child, and you have to treat them as such. And of course, like, if they are a savant, a genius, for example, I'm not a genius by any means. Like, when they're doing their thing in that realm, in that discipline, they can argue with their peers as peers, but when they come home, they will just still be a kid. Even with that particular mindset, I would do that. But I feel like That's why I feel now like a bit resentful of the fact that I was being treated, but without the privileges as an adult. And I feel like, oh my god, there's a freight train, and then there is there is a plane flying over. It's like twice the noise pollution right now. So I feel like that's the thing that I processed today, and I know I'm processing it very difficultly. Like I'm doing this like with the help of AI, of course, like to kind of dissect things also pre post no post session. It's like, oh, this is what happening, this is what going on and stuff. Usually when you are actually processing traumas, you'll get very sleepy and very tired. I really never thought about it before, but now talking to Gemini, like AI Gemini, they basically say, yeah, your parasympathetic system is being triggered and being activated because of the high activations or energy in your brain due to activating, the trauma processing activity. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because like when I was focusing on that one issue, I could feel like the intensity, like here and here, like somewhere in the middle there, between here and there, in the back of, somewhere in the middle there, just like, like somewhere in there. So like between here and there, somewhere in there, in the middle there, was so intense, and it just felt like it's being squeezed like that. Like there is a tiny like point, and then it's being squeezed, and then and you can feel it from the front and also from the back, like, so it's just right in the middle. And I feel like that was like an internal energy being processed. And then Gemini say, yeah, I think because of that release of energy downshifting, you are triggered the parasympathetic response. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I never really thought to ask that actually. So I was like, okay. But at least I feel like the physical symptoms are helpful to kind of help me translate of like what's actually happening in the body. But of course, like in terms of manifesting wealth or manifesting anything in life, I'm not sure how useful it is. I can't even use that to manifest like beautiful skin. I like this, like my skin are getting worse. Um, and I don't have any money coming in for like a long time. So, like, not, I mean, like, I don't have a lot of money coming in. Like, my income's been slashed to half and stuff. But it is doing its job in terms of you're not getting triggered as much. What's going on? Like, another plane passes by and another train passing by at the same time. It's like I am being double ganged. And I don't know why I insist on um, talking out here, but it's actually really nice. I actually talk well when I'm up here. When I'm out here, like I used to come out here to smoke, like before everything got banned. Before I quit, about like 10 years ago. I think I smoked from like 16 to 32, so 16 years, and now it's been like 10 years since I quit. Um, I think I smoked once. I smoked one more cigarette, and then I'm like, in between that 10 years, and I'm like, nah, my body doesn't like it anymore. um but I guess back to trauma processing again, like I think I've said it in the yesterday or tomorrow, today's yesterday, maybe yesterday's video, that the most helpful bit is you get your system is a lot more robust. It doesn't mean that you don't get triggered, but it is a lot more robust. I feel like there's a lot of things that I used to think as a big deal, even up until a year ago. And now I can just put it into perspective and actually let it be the way it needs to be. Like a problem that is not a big problem. It's like it's a doable problem with a solution that is quite simple and easy. And if you can't come up with it, then you don't really have to worry about it until you actually can come up with a solution. So there is a higher tolerance for problem solving. I think that would be the best way I can say it. And also, I'm a lot better at not absorbing other people's emotions this year compared to up to last year. Even up to like 2 years ago, when I see like someone that I quite like socially, as a friend, like just normal people, I would try to find like, if they are uncomfortable, like I can see in their body language if they are uncomfortable. I would try to figure out what makes them uncomfortable and would try to make them comfortable again. It's as if that unless they're comfortable, I'm not comfortable, which is not the way it is now. It's like unless they ask me for help, then if they're not comfortable, then be it. Also, I used to be really, um, I wasn't really good at it, but I was kind of being affected with someone dry bags, meaning like indirectly asking for help, but not actually asking for help. But this, and I would just like, oh, do you mean this? Do you need that? But now I'm like, okay, unless they ask me directly, I'm not going to react to it, to be honest. And I think there is a lot more. Not sure this is a good thing or not, especially as being autistic, because I already not able to maintain relationship as it is. But like there's always going to be a wall, a glass wall between me and the world. So um adding to adding to all of it is like when I'm processing all my trauma in my DR sessions, I am like I'm taking other people less and less personally, so I don't take things too personally nowadays, and that probably make it worse to make friends, because if I was already cold before, now I would probably be perceived as colder. But no, I'm trying to be warm. I'm trying to be, open minded and open in conversation and communication. Actually, that's probably one of the things that have changed, especially because I've been, socializing with a lot of boomers. And boomers do a lot of small talk that doesn't mean anything, doesn't have any quality whatsoever, but it is really good to kind of have a surface level conversation. And I do find it that I'm doing that quite a bit now in public. Like if someone is in front of me and someone is holding something like in a fitting room, and I know about that product that they're holding, I would say, oh my god, that is so good. I've tried it, I've had it at home. I'm trying to maintain that kind of social lubricant, and I don't think people are taking it up on me, taking up my offer of a conversation. It's not as much as like the boomers. They would probably slip in to the conversation very easily, as if then they were part of it. Like they can talk to anyone. So, but the catch is they judge them afterwards, and talk badly behind their backs, while I probably don't even remember afterwards. Um, So I feel like today's session of having that, not revelation, but having that acknowledgement of this consistency of always having to figure things out on my own, having always to come up with the answer, even when I'm not in a position to, and also recognizing the resentment of the unfairness of it all, and recognizing that I'm not supposed to take the responsibility 100%. It's supposed to be, 50-50 kind of, at least, like, for example, the one that I was using earlier, my mom should have given me a lunchbox, or should have given me money for lunch. At least I could figure it out then, like halfway, right? Like, where should I buy my money? Even at 3 years old, I would still have to figure that out. That would still be a challenge. But at least the challenge is not like, oh, I have to figure out how to get money, you know? I guess maybe it's stemmed from there as well. And a 3-year-old wound is being extended 40 years throughout her life. Is very, maybe it's a deep wound. It's a deep wound. Happened at 3 and I just kept repeating it. Now I'm almost 42. It's crazy. It's crazy. Especially you know that it's as if that no one can help you because you're the one that's supposed to come up with the answer. But now I think I want to say I don't have the answer. I don't. I don't have the answer. I think that was what broke me when I say that out loud. Like I don't have the answer. I just don't. I don't have the answer. I don't know how to get out from this problem. I don't know how to solve my. I don't know how to make money on my own. I don't know that. I don't know how to do that, and that's where I am right now. I still don't know, and I don't have the answer, and that's okay because to some extent I guess I am flip flopping between my 41 years old self now and my 3 year old self then. It's like I am talking as if I'm 3 year old right now. It's like I wasn't meant to figure it out to how to make money. I wasn't. I was supposed to be given the tool and then I could figure it out. But I haven't. And so I don't know. I don't have the answer. It's not my fault that I don't have money. It's not my fault that I don't have money. So, like, just to be clear, I'm just processing the trauma. I'm not saying as an adult that you don't have a responsibility to, support yourself. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying right now I'm flip flopping between 41 and 3 years old, And as a 3 year old, I don't have. It's not my fault that I don't have money. It's not my fault that I couldn't figure out how to make money. It's not also it's wrong, I think, as for me personally thinking, it's wrong to say, why don't you just borrow money from one of the teachers? Because one of the teachers, I think, was her friend. So I feel like it's still wrong to tell your kid that in my head. Of course, this was like 40 years ago, different time. Um, and isn't it embarrassing? This is also the same woman that told me not to beg for money. She died like 13 years ago, which was like probably the start of this whole triggering thing of being this mess right now where I am in. Also, I completely forgotten like about yeah, Saturday before last. So not this, not the one that just passed, but the one before that. I went to the craft club in the neighboring suburb, and I realized like I wasn't usually it was out of character. I usually just skip it because I couldn't be bothered. But I went like 2 Saturdays ago, and I realized after about 3 days afterwards that that was the day where my dad died 6 years ago. Totally forgotten about it. Um, I was like, oh, maybe that's why. Maybe my body needed some people around. Even if the personality forgot about it. Oh my God, this is happening again. The train and also the plane are passing by at the same time. They have the same schedule. Um, so I felt like, oh, maybe yeah, maybe the body needs another bodies to keep it company. I guess I'm just like personifying God also as a parental figure now that all both of my parents are gone. Maybe now I'm blaming God, like, you're not supposed to leave me here and sort it out myself, which I think is true also. I think that is fair. I think that is a very fair demand. Like, you're not supposed to let me figure this out myself. The promise is coming to earth in this body is that I will never be alone, even if I was alone in a physical sense. But there is always going to be heaven's help. There's always going to be like spiritual help. And when I mean spiritual, I just mean like in the realm of the unseen. I think that bit, like, I never really question whether it's true or not in my head. It never really is a question. I always assume it is true, which probably is very different to other people. It's just a knowing that I always been born with. Whether I always acknowledge it or not is a different story, because sometimes I hate God so much. When I say God, I just mean like the universe or whatever system, spiritual system that is has been established, before we came to earth and after we finish our lessons on earth and go back, after we die. I mean that one, that's the God. Like I'm just using the word God as a summary of that system. So I'm like, sometimes when I'm angry, I just don't acknowledge its existence. I'm like, ugh, I hate it. Like I'm alone, you betrayed me, you forsaken me. I felt like I was like Jesus, throwing in tantrums. Another plane just walking, just flying by. Tomorrow will be 19 degrees top, like 19 degrees. That's crazy. That's like second day of summer. I kind of like it though. I hope like summer is gonna be like that. Summer's gonna be like this, really cold. It'd be cool. But then again, I'm afraid we're gonna have like 40 degrees in January, which is not good. But that's the promise that was given to us, which was we're not supposed to do it alone. And right now, my answer to the problem that I have, which is I don't have money, is like I don't have the answer to that. I don't know how to make money, and I don't think I need to know right now. I'm like trying to be, maybe I am becoming my 3 year old self, and I'm now demanding like you figure it out for me, God, you figuring out for me, and you just let me know when the solution comes and I'll do it. I'll, show me the steps and I'll do it. And I'm like, I don't know, I feel like being in a irresponsible 3 year old is kind of making me a bit happy right now. I'm not sure who I'm taking revenge on. What am I taking revenge on, God? No, taking revenge on mom. Like, no, mom died. Maybe she's already reincarnated somewhere in the world, right? So she's probably not in heaven anymore. She's probably like, I don't know, a 4 year old child somewhere. She's probably not even a girl. Maybe this time she prefers to be a man. You never know. But oh, maybe I need to pay attention to which boys, like boy child, come to my life. Maybe that's mother. Um, is that like too much topics at once? Reincarnations, spirituality, traumas, a whole bunch of stuff. But this is just what my brain is very naturally good at thinking, and because that's just basically what my brain is about ever since I was a kid. So it is my natural expertise areas, I suppose. Um, if you ask me to talk about other things, I probably would not say a word or would make a beep because I don't have any knowledge on that. But yeah, that's it. That's my today's trauma processing session. That's the gist of what happened. It's extremely cold, and I am sharing it with you guys. Maybe I would share it more if I'm doing it more. Maybe this will be useful for some people, maybe not. But I'm also doing this as a record keeping thing, just to record of what's happening in my life and stuff. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe, and if you like my content, help me support through coffee .com.ring. Everything will be in the description box below, and I'll see you later. Bye everyone.